Yo, 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 what's up, everybody? It's your boy Sammy, aka Laker Boy Ace, and today we have a really special guest and honor, Eddie Starr.
It's
What's
your
up,
boy
man?
Eddie Star coming to you live from the pad, but to give it to you raw. And you know me, I keep it 1,000. So let's get into it.
Hey, man, thanks for being here, dude. Honestly, big
Wow.
fan, huge fan. All
Oh
right,
man, you got it. You know what's going on. You know
so
what's happening.
we had a couple of topics planned. Uh,
Okay.
so let's start out with the D'Lo situation, man.
All right.
A lot of people bashing our dude. A lot of people.
Okay.
ESPN especially. Before the draft, you watch all these analysts and they're talking about what the Lakers should be doing. And before the draft, you think it's a consensus that we're all going to be drafting Brandon Ingram.
Right.
But these fools are like, we should draft Chris Dunn because
Oh, of
D'Angelo
course.
Russell isn't the point guard of the future.
Right.
D'Angelo Russell is really bad. The whole
Yeah.
Nick Young situation. Now,
Right.
before we get into that, I understand D'Lo. I understand it's one thing to bash his game, but it's another to bring in that social media aspect and to
Yeah.
connect that with his game. It's two different things.
Yeah.
So it aggravates me to a little bit to when they say trade him. It's his first year. He's 18, and I think people that didn't watch the games, they didn't see Byron Scott.
Right. Sabotaging is basically, I see what you're saying. You're saying that what people don't see is a whole picture. They're just seeing
Exactly.
one facet of it. See, what really happens is the memification, as I call it, with social media. You have a lot of the young cats right now. You got rappers, you got all of these people making the situation bigger than what it already is. It's been in so many rap lines and mixtapes now. I remember Fabulous saying something about D'Angelo Russell, and
Yeah.
it's become the thing to get attention, and it's become a lot of memes and stuff like that. And I really had no problem with D'Angelo Russell did. If you go back and you search YouTube, you can find something with Nick Young getting a Foot Locker. He got a Foot Locker commercial off of dating Iggy Azalea. He wouldn't have got that Foot Locker commercial had he was not dating that Iggy Azalea. So he benefited off of some kind of hype as well.
That's true.
So,
That's true.
I don't agree with D'Angelo Russell did, but I mean, it's a business. You have to be pragmatic at the end of the day, and you have to make sure that you do what's best. I mean, that this guy has potential to be one of the leading stars in the league one day. Not saying right now, but one day. And he's been putting in the work, and you have a new system with a new coach, and you should be able to be a young man and make mistakes. Everybody's made mistakes when they were a young man, so. Yeah, it's kind of blown up, but at the same time, you know what it is. It's just the social media, the jokes, the memification of things. That's my take on it, though.
You're right. The memification of it is huge, I think. I think it's become a popular thing for people to make fun of the situation.
Right. It's the trendy thing to do.
Yeah, that's really true. And I just think for D'Lo to bounce back and people to stop it, he just has to play his game hard.
That's what everybody was going crazy yesterday when he scored, was it 41?
41 and 39.
But keep in mind, those were some country bumpkins. Those were some Kentucky boys. These not NBA players, all right? Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe it was a couple in there. It's a pro-am. But he's lighting them up. I mean, I'm still happy to see it. This is what I want to see from D'Angelo Russell in the summer league. Because you remember when he first started, he had a lackluster summer league. Yeah. You had so many people. And that's when I came out with my video, is D'Angelo Russell a bust? And I was just like, come on, guys. And even all of that, no matter what, he was starting to improve. He was starting to show. He was starting to shine because Byron Scott, if you remember, he was giving him a little bit more rope. He was letting him, okay, I'm gonna let the guys go out here, because we all know that the Lakers were tanking, right? But Mitch Kupchak can't go out there and say he's trying to protect that pick. So when he gave when Byron Scott gave him a little bit more rope, and he started to play good. But right around that situation when Nick Young and that whole situation went down, it kind of split the team. You had the older guys that were like, this is man code, right? And then you had some guys on the other side that was just like, he's a young guy. He's going. I mean,
it's split.
You go ahead. No, go ahead.
Yeah, you're definitely right. It's definitely split between two parties that believe this and believe that. For
Right.
one, I think it's wrong what he did, and I don't think he did it on purpose. I don't think any man would do that with intent. You know,
Well,
especially if that's your teammate. I don't think he purposely uploaded the video. I think it got leaked. Personally, that's me. I mean, that's up to that's up to subjection. I
right,
know,
right.
right? But
So,
that's what I think.
well, it was a while back, I believe.
Yeah.
I heard on ESPN. You know how they have occasionally they have a Meta World Peace. He joined
Yeah.
in and he kind of does this thing. Right now, I think they have Ryan Hollins on ESPN 710,
Okay.
and yeah, so they have different basketball players come in. And if I'm not mistaken, Meta World Peace, the artist formerly known as Ron Artest, okay, he said that they used to play games like that, where they would tape each other and they would hide. They used to play little funny games like that. That's according to Meta World Peace. They used to play like that. So
Coming from Meta too,
this is Meta World Peace. He's not gonna lie.
Exactly.
So they used to play games like that, right? And speculation ran rampant and was like, oh, this Nicki Minaj had some kind of crew, like some kind of Nicki Minaj hive that were like hacking through D'Angelo's phone, and they just wanted to sabotage it. I'm like, look, man. Bottom line is, it's a bunch of foolishness.
Yeah, exactly.
Bottom line is, the kid made a mistake, right? And he can't take it back, and you just got to move forward. But what the media is doing is they're sensationalizing it because it's the hot thing to do.
It's for ratings. It's all ratings.
Right. It's all about ratings and clicks.
Exactly.
So that's basically what you have with this D'Angelo, people sabotaging him. Like, well, look at his numbers, right? Like, this guy is this and this and this and that. He didn't have that. Because the problem is, when you come in the league with so much hype, and people think that you're supposed to be Magic Johnson and you're supposed to have 50, 10 assists and 20 passes, and flash and pass. And at the same time, you have to develop under what we're not mentioning is that you have to develop under Kobe, who's taking X amount of shots a game.
I mean, the thing is, you don't have that role. You know what I'm saying? Like, the role was switching throughout the whole season. And I think people that watch the games would understand that. It's something to look at the stat sheet, but it's another to actually see the games and how it unfolded. And I think D'Angelo was starting one night, but another night Huertas would start over. It got weird.
Lou Williams was even getting some time that basically D'Angelo Russell was supposed to be getting. And it was just a tumultuous season. I mean, you can look at it from any aspect. It was tumultuous. You had Byron Scott playing, coddling Kobe. Oh, Kobe. He's just it's obvious he had an awful game. Yeah. And we love Kobe though. It don't matter. You Kobe, right? It don't matter.
Rightfully so. He deserved it.
Games, right? Mm-hmm. And Julius Randle was kind of going through his learning curve. He was kind of like a bull at a China shop sometimes, kind of looking confused and rushing in. And then you're like, what are you doing making these careless turnovers? But nevertheless, he was still getting like 10 boards.
Yeah. Shout out to Randle, man, for his rookie season. This boy's the truth. A lot of people don't see it.
He's been solid. Now, he's probably been the most solid one out of the young core, right?
Yeah, consistent.
So, it was games where Julius Randle had a fairly decent game and made a couple mistakes. Yeah. And Kobe maybe have shot 26 shots and made 6. And the first person he rips after the game is Julius Randle. Mm-hmm. And it's like, what's going on, man? It's obvious that you're coddling Kobe, Kobe guy, and you don't want to rip him in the public. Not
exactly. Once. And what this actually transitions to for me is really important. I think last year the issue with the Lakers was we had a bunch of talented rookies, but they weren't cohesive. They weren't playing as a unit. It reminds me of like a young OKC, a lot of talent, they just couldn't play together.
Yes.
So this season, now that Kobe's gone, and with Brandon Ingram coming in, I think it's a perfect opportunity to build that team chemistry, to actually have that good spacing on the floor, something that I think Luke Walton can really build upon to help this upcoming season. I think that's a big part of it.
Oh, absolutely, because you don't have any ball stoppers, right? Like, with
Exactly.
Kobe, the thing we loved about Kobe, but the thing we hated about Kobe was a lot of times that he shot us out of some games that we could have won.
Yeah.
And with Luke Walton now, he has the freedom that say Byron Scott didn't have.
Exactly.
But to me, Byron Scott was in a tough situation, but he had it coming. All right, you
Yeah.
knew that you was a guy. You knew you was going to get it. So at the end of the season, he could say he felt he was deceived or he was whatever this case may be, but he knew it was coming. And now Luke Walton, he could come in. He's a hot shot, right? Everybody's looking at Luke Walton.
The savior.
Right, Luke Walton, this guy, man, he's going to be, I have my personal sentiments and feelings about that. I'm not going to get into that, but I wish the brother well because he's coaching the Lakers. But at the same time, he has a chance now. Okay, we're talking about, we'll get into that on dangerous teams, right? Young dangerous teams and stuff. But he has a squad right now. Okay, us Laker fans, we've been beat down to a point. We've been demoralized to a point where we're just happy if we can get 35 wins, 37 wins. It doesn't even matter if we make the playoffs next year, if we get to a championship next year, because we know right now that's probably not feasible with the Golden States of the world, with OKC doing trades, the Spurs, right? It's going to be player movement. You even got some stuff talking about KD is taking meetings from Golden State, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, Celtics, Spurs.
There's a lot of things that can happen in free agency once July 1st hits, to where it'll change the whole league, right? So Lakers won't be in a situation like that unless they get an A+. We'll get into that on
the free agency topic.
I'm starting to digress. But,
to sum it up practically, in my opinion, I think D'Angelo Russell is an untradeable asset on our team. Point guards, just to end it up, we're heading into a league where it's point guard oriented league and it's a 3-point shooting league. And D'Angelo Russell perfectly fits that mold, especially with Brandon Ingram coming in. I think they're going to be a really good 1-2 punch. And on top of that, D'Lo, he can do the mid-range, he can do the 3-point, he can be a great facilitator. So he's something we should really pay attention to and not take for granted.
No, absolutely. And my take on D'Angelo Russell is, did he have the season that we expected? Probably not, right? But
we're LA. We expect everything.
There was a lot of variables that we just previously expressed that coaching plays a role, okay? Coaching plays a role into development. Yes, was he a little cocky at times? Was he a little arrogant, a little pompous at times and cocksure? Yeah, okay. A couple of times it was like, okay, yeah, this guy's a little arrogant bastard.
Yeah, and you need that, though. In the future, that's going to pay off.
Right. Like he had the 39-point game, and he's like, I got ice in my veins and stuff like that. Yeah. You know what? He needed a situation like that Nick Young scandal to happen, right? Yeah. It's kind of sad, but sometimes you need things like that to bring you back down to earth. Okay, exactly. And you realize, you know what? I got to get strictly down to basketball. Same situation kind of happened with Kobe after the Colorado situation. I don't know if you remember that. Yeah. And after that, when he lost all of his endorsements, when he lost everything, because Kobe really went through it with the rape scandal, they took his endorsements, they took everything from him. And after that, he became Black Mamba, right? He got focused like, I don't care what nobody says. I'm focused on basketball.
What's off the court's off the court. What's on the court.
Off the court. What's on the court is on the court. Exactly. So hopefully he gets in that chamber, that kind of like what Kobe Bryant got into when he's seen social media and he's seen how everybody in the media, they turned against him. That's the lane that D'Angelo Russell needs to get in, and he has to just strictly just stick to basketball and work on basketball and leave that other stuff. Which I highly doubt. I did love the Foot Locker commercial, but
it was funny.
On that note, it was really funny to me. Yeah. Even Mitch Kupchak had said something like, "Well, he liked the commercial" or something like that. Paraphrasing, not 100% sure. He wasn't against it, so that's my take on it. He just has to focus on basketball, keep basketball first. All that other stuff, he ain't got to worry about that with social media, because they'll be right back on his jock when he's scoring 50 points a game or I mean, where he's scoring 50 points one game and 10 assists and
Exactly.
9 rebounds. It's like, wow, this kid, D'Angelo Russell, oh my God, man, he's a marvel. So it always switches. The narrative always changes. That's my take on it. I don't want to talk too much, but I guess we can end it on that note.
Exactly.
But, yeah, so
that's about it for anybody wondering about the D'Lo situation. That's what we think. And, this is another very controversial topic.
Okay.
I get it a lot in the comments. Half of the people say this and half of the people say this. Half of them say, let's trade this young core. Let's get some nice all-star players.
Okay.
So we can entice people like Durant. And then there are people that are saying, no, you guys are idiots. Go through the draft, keep what you have, and go from there.
Okay.
Now, I want to start out by saying my opinion on it. I think that we should build through the draft. Personally, let's not fix something that isn't broke yet.
Okay.
Just keep going with this. I think Ingram has potential. As we said, Russell has potential, and Randall. And the beauty of it is each of them can complement each other in a really nice way. We just started a new system with Luke Walton. We're a young team. So if we just start trading everything away, I think that would break down what direction we're trying to head into.
Right.
It just wouldn't seem suitable to me, personally.
Okay. So my take on it is, unless you're getting Steph Curry
or Boogie Cousins,
getting somebody who's a difference maker that can immediately take your team from the worst team in the league to one of the top 5 contenders, right? You need some stuff like that, okay? I'm with it if you're going to get Kevin Durant and you're going to get Russell Westbrook and maybe, what I'm trying to say, we become an OKC-like team. But even then, you run the risk of these guys, okay, my free agency's coming up and they're acting all weird and funny style when they're pressed. When they're pressed, they're like, the press is coming at them. Hey, free agency's coming up, Durant, and you're basically renting a player, and the player's all ambiguous as to, yeah, I'm going to stay. No, I'm not going to stay. So, I mean, my take on it is that you got to let the young core grow. Okay, you look at Golden State. Golden State, they've had chances where they could have traded for Kevin Love, and they could have. And Kevin Love at that time, he had some hype. The 2020 guy. He had his differences with, I guess the coach, Kurt Rambis at that time, I forgot who the coach was in Minnesota, but he was like, man, this guy, he had that game where he grabbed 20 boards, and he was seen as a guy that could be really like a big star. But what's the name? Jerry West, as an advisor, you need guys up top who are very smart that can advise you. If they're not in a situation where they're owners or bosses, you need a guy to kind of tell you, hey, you're getting a little bit too emotional. Don't trade Klay Thompson. This kid is about to break out. He's about to be a star, right? And they let him develop. And now you see, he had one of the greatest finals performances of all time, one of them of all time. And like I said, he has a bright future. He even carried them during that OKC series. They were very, very close to losing. So you look at the teams like OKC, you look at a team like Golden State, that's a prime example of building through the draft, right?
Exactly. And I sort of want to replicate that, but obviously we won't get a Steph Curry in the mix or a Klay. Those are rare. I think they're the greatest shooters of all time.
Oh, I think so too. I think that you can also do what Cleveland did, right? Now, Cleveland, they got their guy. They got the guy who they drafted originally, LeBron James. He came at the right time, and he changed their whole franchise. Now you have guys who are like David West or, a guy who just played for the Spurs that are kind of like, I'll take a pay cut just to join your team. Or you have guys that have a somewhat decent talent. They could come to your team now. Right. And LeBron has influence as far as people coming to his team. That's the reason why they got J.R. Smiths and Iman Shumperts and guys like that. So,
and it took time for Cleveland to get there as well. But also, the argument also is we're Los Angeles. A lot of people don't have time for a rebuild. Yeah. You know what I'm saying?
Well, Los Angeles, we've had our bad years. We've had the years that I started watching the Lakers were Nick Van Exel, Fidel 3, Anthony Pillar, Pig Miller. I think Sean Rooks was even on the team. God bless, made a man rest in peace.
I hear Van Exel was a fun player to watch. He was pretty energetic.
Man, bro, he had these. He was okay. It used to be this thing before YouTube called Inside Stuff. And Inside Stuff used to be the show. Now they have it on NBA TV. It's kind of like watered down now, but
yeah,
NBA Inside Stuff used to be the show. I know a lot of guys that are probably going to comment on this. They're like, yeah, NBA, it was the stuff before the internet. Yeah. And man, he used to have these little flashy passes and used to be razzle dazzle. He wasn't a guy that was. I guess who you could compare him to was he was not a Hall of Famer or even an All-Star, but he had a couple moves every now and then that would make the crowd go wow and stuff like that. So it was cool, but he wasn't like. You know what I'm saying?
He was ours. He was just LA's guy.
LA's guy, and we really love Eddie Jones. Eddie Jones, and Eddie Jones used to be the man. He even had a shoe contract, I believe, with Jumpman. And so Eddie Jones was a dude, but Kobe was just far better. Yeah, so that's just how that went down. So
history wrote itself.
Yeah, history wrote itself. I mean, once you get an all-timer on your team, that's the thing. That's the prime.
Exactly.
It kind of folds into what we're talking about. How, the Lakers, they drafted Kobe and they got an all-timer and they just so happened to do a sign and trade to get Shaq. And it was some years even after that where where they kind of, it was like a year or something like, no, they came together in 96, but they were really, once they got Phil Jackson, they were a force. So, I mean, you can, like I said, you can build, you can trade, but that makes no guarantee because usually when you trade with a team, they want so many assets. They want these assets, like,
picks, especially
picks and assets. You got to give up something. It's just not going to be like we're going to give you our player. We want you to take a bad salary back too. Like the Lakers, if we're going to take somebody, you got to take Nick Young. All right, if I get this player, I trade with you, but you got to take Nick Young. So that's an example of what I'm talking about. But yeah, go ahead.
Exactly. But yeah, you're definitely right about that situation. And honestly, I think we should be playing the safe card unless, like you said, we get a killer player like a Durant, and we know that he will sign with us if we do get these players that are really good. Another player that I think is amazing is DeMarcus Cousins. Now, this comes into a topic that I think you've touched on. Immaturity.
You know what? If I got into that, I don't want to go there, but I'll talk about it. Let's talk about it.
Yeah, man. All right. So
I have a fascination for that, man. I think he's a really good player. I think he's a top center in the league.
Oh yeah. Just because he's playing for the Kings, man, he doesn't get much highlights. But DeMarcus Cousins.
The number one gripe that people have against him is he didn't make the playoffs, even with Rajon Rondo and all this.
That's true.
Yeah, that's true. But to me, talent is talent. Oh, he could be. No, go ahead.
So Boogie Cousins has that exceptional talent, and he would be a great 1A type of guy. You put another 1A next to him, and I mean, you got a killer team.
Yeah.
But I don't think Boogie Cousins, he's amazing, but alone, it's kind of hard to tell. Because with the Kings, he's doing his thing, but also you can go and say the management screwed up his career as of right now.
Yeah.
Because they haven't surrounded him with the right pieces, and apparently he's a coach killer, according to people.
Oh, you know what?
Yeah.
Every alpha is a coach killer. Kobe done killed some coaches.
LeBron.
Everybody kills coaches. This is a players' league. And so don't get it twisted. If a player wants you there, you'll be there. If a player don't want you there, you're gone. It's even in Laker history. Magic got rid of coaches that Kareem was fond of.
Damn.
But, yeah, and there was a little rift between that. And they're like, because Magic was kind of close with Dr. Buss. He would have breakfasts with Dr. Buss. So, we got some stuff in our history. I mean, this has always been a players' league. Yeah. So that killing coach stuff, if a team has to choose between a coach and a player, 9 times out of 10 they're going to choose the player. Now in college that's different. In college they always pick the coach over the player. So in a professional league it's players over the coach.
Yeah, true. So yeah, that's about that, I guess. So what are
Okay.
you about? You think we should trade if it's for a good play, like a superstar?
No, I think if it's an alpha, if it's a guy that's like who I'm fascinated over is like a Russell Westbrook, right? He's a
Yeah.
little wild, and people can say his stuff when I'm back. To me, the kid is a stud.
Yeah.
And if it's like a Paul George, Paul George is okay, but I think that Brandon Ingram can develop into a Paul George.
Yeah.
Paul George kind of like player. If you look at Paul George's rookie stats, he wasn't blowing anybody away with stats. He had like, decent numbers, but it wasn't like, this is people.
Yeah.
Sometimes in LA we think, a player's supposed to be like how Kobe was, or like how certain people who entered the league was. But a lot of times, man, it is a learning curve.
It really
It's a lot
is.
that you have to learn, man. It's a lot of offenses that you have to learn, and you kind of, the competition kind of makes your skills. It brings your skills back down to earth. So
Yeah.
you gotta have these hard years, get these hard years out the way, because
Exactly.
you could even look at the Sixers, which I'll get into later.
Oh my gosh, the Sixers.
But yeah, man. So that's pretty much my take. I think that we should keep the core as currently constituted,
Yeah.
with the exception of we add a player, which we'll get into,
All
which
right.
we'll talk about. But that's my take on it. You just keep the players as constituted. You get a good coach in place. You get a coach that can develop young talent,
Which we have. Luke Walton. It's perfect.
which which is yet to be seen. Which I hope we can see. All right. Okay. I'll just leave it at that.
All right. Okay.
I'm pulling for the brother though.
Yeah. So I guess those are the topics that we were going to discuss.
Okay.
That's about it. So anything else you want to say?
That's pretty much sums it up, man.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, man. I guess that's what's going on right now. These are some controversial things that people wanted us to address.
Okay.
Yeah. So it's been real, man. I hope you enjoyed being here, Eddie.
Oh, absolutely. We got to do this more often.
Yeah, man. It's really dope. I love. That's why I started this channel, because it's really cool to connect with people like you who know a lot about the organization.
Yeah. I appreciate it, man. All right, so peace.
Peace. Oh yeah, and we're gonna do a live stream at Eddie's channel right now, where he's gonna be discussing a certain topic. So we're gonna get right into that. So check that out. And also, if you guys enjoyed this video, please check out the Laker Guys. It's a channel where me and my homie Walito Juan have a discussion like how me and Eddie are having, but in person.
Absolutely. You guys got to subscribe to him. Don't just look. Hit the like button, subscribe. Get some interaction going. You see what I'm saying? That's how it's supposed to work.
Hey, man. Thanks for the shout out. I really appreciate it.
Oh, no problem, man.
All right, man. I'll see you there.
All right. Peace.
Peace.